It's U of L Today on 93.9 The Ville. Here's your host, Mark Hebert.
And welcome to U of L Today with Mark Hebert on 93.9 The Ville. This is a show about all things U of L and the good news and the good stories coming out of the University of Louisville. We do have a couple of news nuggets just before we get rolling here with a couple of our guests. As many of you know, Dr. Neville Pinto is the new acting president of the University of Louisville. And he was the interim provost, so he had to find someone to replace himself. So he recently has appointed Dale Billingsley, the acting provost of the University of Louisville. Billingsley's been with U of L since 1978 when he came on as an English teacher, and he's worked his way up, and he is known as Dr. B to all the students. So good luck to Dr. Pinto and Dr. Billingsley on this new venture at the University of Louisville. So in just a minute, we're going to be talking about booze and its effect on your body outside the obvious. But let me tell you what else is coming up later in the show. There are thousands of healthcare workers in the Louisville area who don't have a college degree but want one. If you're one of those people or know someone who is, U of L has a new online program aimed at helping healthcare workers get a degree on their own timetable. And U of L tied its own state record with 14 prestigious Fullbright scholars this year. You will hear from one of them a little bit later on in the show. But first, U of L has scored an $8 million grant from the National Institutes of Health to set up an alcohol research center. Dr. Craig McLean, who's the Associate Vice President for Health Affairs at U of L, is going to be heading up that center, and he's here to talk about it. Welcome, Craig.
Mark, great to be here.
How you doing?
Fantastic.
All right. $8 million, huh?
A lot of money.
Yeah, it is a lot of money. That's a lot of money from the feds. And so tell us a little bit about this center. What is it? What's it going to be?
So having a NIH-designated center is a big thing. That it sets us apart from most of the other medical schools in the country. So there are well over 100 medical schools, actually closer to 150, and there are only 20 designated alcohol centers in the country. And this is a designation, as you said, by the NIH. And to get that, you have to have a strong base of multidisciplinary alcohol research. And we developed that over a period of time. And once you get that, why then you can apply to the federal government to get more funds to have your group synergize internally and with industry and groups outside. And so we were fortunate enough to get one of those grants. And that'll provide us with the resources to train new investigators. It's going to be our responsibility to be a regional resource for alcohol research and information, and to hopefully develop new therapies.
Well, I guess that's the obvious question here. What's an alcohol center? What kind of research are you going to be doing on alcohol and its effects on people?
Right. So our particular center is unique in that we're focusing on the area of nutrition, nutritional deficiencies, and nutritional intervention. So we're the only one out of all those 20 centers that does that.
So what is the link between alcohol and nutrition?
Well, if you look at how much alcohol a lot of our alcoholics consume, and clearly the people that I see that have alcoholic liver disease, they're drinking on an average of 13 or 15 drinks a day. So
that's a lot of booze.
That's a lot of booze. And in those drinks, basically there's no protein, there's no real good nutritional components to it. And so it's easy to develop nutritional deficiencies. And then as that alcohol is metabolized, it also affects nutrients in the body. So there's an alcohol-nutrient interaction. So our group focuses on that overall theme. And we have 4 main research projects. Mine looks at dietary fat, a special type of fat called an omega-6 unsaturated fat that's found mainly in corn oil. So you think about omega-3, that's the good fish oil.
Right.
This is kind of the bad side of that. And how that interacts with alcohol to cause alcoholic liver disease. We've got another group that looks at the interaction between the intestine and the liver. So as you know, the gut flora is a hot thing now. The gut bacteria cause everything bad. And so with alcohol consumption, the intestine gets leaky, and bacterial products can go across and actually cause harm to other organs in the body or activate the innate immune system. We have a group that looks at the lung. Alcohol can cause lung injury, so it makes you more susceptible to ARDS in the ICU, more susceptible to pneumonia. And so we have a group headed by our chairman of medicine, Jesse Roman, looking at that.
So you got folks looking at all sorts of different things internally and how alcohol affects the internal organs and other things. We're talking with Dr. Craig McLean, who's going to be running the Alcohol Research Center at the University of Louisville. For the folks out there who are listening, how much is too much? I know it's different for different people, but what can you say from your research and what you know, how much drinking is too much?
So
it's a broad question, but I'm going to throw it out there.
Yeah, and kind of along with that question is any amount of alcohol good, I guess.
Oh, okay, that's a good question.
So it depends on how you take alcohol in. So there's a thing called binge drinking that's actually very important on campuses right now. Huge problem in college and in high school now. And so it's different if you take one drink a night for a week, so that's 7 drinks, versus drinking 7 drinks in 2 hours. So if you have that one drink every day, that may even be good for you, and we'll talk about that a little later if you want to. But the 7 drinks over 2 hours is binge drinking, and that can cause severe harm. We have some kids now that basically drink till they're unconscious, and some of them can actually kill themselves doing this or cause severe organ damage, need a liver transplant. So,
well, how much is good then? If 7 drinks in a couple of hours is bad, obviously.
Right.
But what is okay? Is it, we talk about a glass of red wine after work. Is that good?
Well, and you mentioned the red wine, so interest in kind of good effects of alcohol started when they were looking at wine. It was actually Morley Safer on 60 Minutes.
I remember that.
Talking about French paradox. We're probably the only two old enough to remember that, right? But so the question was, how did the French, who kind of otherwise have a bad diet, have a good risk from heart attacks? And they thought, well, maybe it's in the wine that they drink. And there are good components in wine. Resveratrol is one of them. And so it's been shown that small amounts of alcohol, and it doesn't have to be wine, any type of alcohol, up to 1 drink for women and up to 2 drinks per men per day, actually has a beneficial effect on your overall survival and decreases the risk of a variety of chronic diseases. And that's actually reported in the most recent U.S. dietary guidelines that just came out in 2015.
So you guys who are having a couple of beers after work, that's good for you. That's what you're telling me.
No more than 2.
No more than 2, as long as you're take it in moderation and don't get out of control.
Yeah, I probably have a drink every night.
There you go. All right. So what else is the Alcohol Center going to be looking at? What kind of research are you doing? What are you trying to get to that might be helpful in the future?
Yeah, so as I said, we're looking at nutrition and kind of nutritional therapies. And the reason this is exciting, when you come out with a new drug, it's going to take you 10 or 15 years to develop a drug, get it on the market, and millions and millions of dollars. There are some nutrients that are available right now that we think might have beneficial effects. An example is zinc, a trace metal that we're looking at giving patients with alcoholic liver disease right now in a study. So we are looking at a variety of different nutrients and ways of delivering nutrients to specific organs where they're most needed.
All right, very good. I know 10 minutes goes by fast, doesn't it, Dr. McLean?
It sure does.
All right. Dr. Craig McLean, we'll check back with you as you go along with this grant, because this is really interesting stuff, and I think it impacts a lot of, has the opportunity at least to impact a whole heck of a lot of people that obviously a lot of folks drink alcohol, some do much, and so this could really help them out in your research.
Yep, we're going to do it responsibly.
There you go. All right, Dr. Craig McLean from the University of Louisville, the Associate VP for Health Affairs, who's going to be running the Alcohol Research Center, courtesy of a grant from the National Institutes of Health. Lee Bewley is the director of a new program from UofL's College of Education and Human Development that's aimed at healthcare workers. So you think about education. Why should I think about healthcare workers? How are you tying those two programs together, Lee?
Well, actually, when you look at our economy, about 20% of the entire United States gross domestic product is healthcare related. And so in order to be able to practice in the field of medicine, you have to have the appropriate credentials, and those credentials are often tied to your development and specifically education.
Okay. So as I understand it, this is a brand new program that the University of Louisville is running starting this fall. So why don't you tell us about it?
Yes, sir. It's a bachelor's degree in organizational leadership and learning with a healthcare leadership concentration track. Critical elements about this program that are attractive to students are, one, it's focused specifically on developing competencies of healthcare leaders. Those competencies are established by the National Center for Healthcare Leadership, and it provides opportunities for development in specific areas. The other aspect of it is that we're following a competency-based approach. And so the competency-based approach allows students to be able to proceed through the program, through the major courses at their own pace. If you can demonstrate that you have the competencies within a particular course, you can finish that course and move on to the next within a period of a few weeks or a few months rather than the traditional August to December or January to May term.
But this course is specifically designed just for healthcare workers. We're talking.
Yes, sir.
Who are we talking about here?
So across that fifth of the economy that's associated with healthcare, we have a whole broad expanse of individuals that have, well, they have a lot of professional working experience in the healthcare field, and they may even have nearly a bachelor's degree worth of educational credits without actually having the degree.
Close to finishing, maybe, or
yes, sir.
Or have some hours towards it.
Particularly for our healthcare technicians and specialists that have an associate's degree in order to be able to practice. Ultimately, these individuals need to proceed in their career development and to be the supervisor or a manager, or they might seek to be a healthcare executive. We're looking to take folks that have at least 24 credit hours of higher education, college, community college, bring them into the program and be able to provide this competency-based education approach to get them to that bachelor's degree. And how do we do it? One is that we assess all of their past credits to determine what credits can be transferred either towards general education requirements and electives. Two, we offer a process called prior learning assessment. Prior learning assessment at the University of Louisville allows a student to be able to demonstrate what competency, skills, and knowledge they've picked up through their professional career, either through workplace education and development or perhaps training and development that they received within the industry. They can earn 48 credit hours, up to 48 credit hours, towards the 123 hours necessary to earn the degree. And then finally, for the major, for healthcare leadership, in order to develop healthcare management competencies, we have 36 credit hours that are taught in a non-term competency-based approach.
So this may be for someone that's at a nursing home, a hospital, doctor's office, that went to college for a little while, didn't finish their degree, but is working in a healthcare setting and says, you know what, I really want to be the nurse manager.
Yes, sir.
I want to be the administrator of, in charge of finance in my division or something like that. Is that what we're talking about here?
Yes, sir. And this program was a response to the industry here within the Kentuckiana area and across the area, but specifically Kindred Health Services, Trilogy Health Services, Norton Healthcare, Humana, Blue Cross Blue Shield. These organizations saw that they had a number of their employees that had a great deal of college credit or development, but yet in order to be a manager or an administrator at the front line or at mid-level positions, they wanted them to be able to have opportunities to have that baccalaureate education, and specifically in healthcare leadership to develop management competencies to serve. And one, though we do have a 20% of our economy or so, nearly 20%, that is focused on healthcare, we have access issues. And so we need to find ways to more effectively and efficiently utilize the resources that we have so that we can provide care for more of our people. And so developing our leaders in healthcare enables them to be able to manage the business so that our nurses, our physicians, our healthcare professionals providing care have that level of coordination, communication by their leaders and managers that can get that effect.
We're talking with Lee Bewley, who's from the UofL College of Education and Human Development, and he's talking about a brand new program for healthcare workers to try and get their degree from UofL. Is this totally online? Is the degree program totally online?
The major part of our program is completely on. That is to say the 36 credit hours of healthcare leadership are completely online. However, in order to earn the 123 credit hours necessary to earn it, a student could potentially take all of their courses online through one of the other schools or universities for general education requirements. There are opportunities for students to be able to take some face-to-face classes, particularly here in the Kentuckiana area. If they wanted to take a math class for a general education requirement, they might be able to take it either online if they choose, or they could come on campus for face-to-face. That's their choice. But the major portion of this program, the 36 credit hours for healthcare leadership, are completely online and in a competency-based education, non-term approach.
What do you think the demand will be? This is a brand new program this fall, so what do you think the demand will be for something like this?
So when I look across the industry, we have thousands of technicians that are healthcare technicians at the 2-year associate degree level, and across all of our healthcare,
like radiologists, those kinds of
radiology,
things.
technology, sonology, looking at phlebotomists, folks that work in pharmacy lab and X-ray. These technicians have 2-year degrees, or they have health system specialists with or nurses' aides or medical assistants. We see that there are hundreds of organizations, even within the Kentuckiana area, and then thousands across the country that need their folks to be able to have this opportunity for baccalaureate education, either for degree completion or to move from associate's to bachelor's degree from a R1 research university, so that even beyond at the front line or mid-level, if they seek to extend their careers at the graduate level, they can do so having the foundation of a degree from the University of Louisville.
How might their work experience play into this? Can they get any credit for the work experience that they've already done, or does it just help them in the classes, obviously, that they've been out in the real world and now they're coming back to finish up their education?
Yes, sir. There's two aspects in which their experience will serve them. Number one, for each one of the competency-based education courses that they have, if they have development in competencies, they're going to be able to demonstrate those competencies for these lone graded deliverable within each course is an assessment of their ability to demonstrate those competencies. If they have the skills, they can, at the beginning of the course, they take a pretest. If they meet those pretest criteria, they can move directly to the final assessment. The other part is through prior learning assessment, and this is a process in which the first 3 credit hours that the student takes in our program is prior learning assessment. Specifically, they're focusing on the competency of self-development, but yet what it enables them to do, these 3 credit hours, allows a student to earn up to 48 credit hours as they demonstrate how the mandatory training, the development that they've received on the job and through their professional experience, how has that contributed towards their development as a professional in their field. We are able to award up to 48 credit hours that will be applied to the general elective requirements necessary to earn the degree at the University of Louisville.
I may be putting you on the spot here, but I'm going to ask it anyway and see if you know the answer to this. Is there anything that shows, any research that shows how much more a healthcare worker can make with a 4-year degree as opposed to a 2-year degree or no college at all?
Broadly speaking, you can find that there would be a positive increase.
Well, yeah.
Just generally, well, I don't want to, as a professor, you don't want to definitively say because there's variation in the marketplace. Right. And so, for an example, what we often see looking at, for instance, civil service and Department of Defense. Military and federal services, we have a general service schedule of employment income. And so there are requirements to have a bachelor's degree for some leadership positions at the GS 7 to 12 level. If you're operating with an associate's degree or less than a bachelor's degree, it may only be at the GS 4 to GS 6 level. So generally speaking, you would expect those people to progress according to, of course, within the regional variation of economics, but it would be as much as $500 to maybe $1,000 more per month for earning salary is a general estimate.
Okay, well, that's a good estimate. See, I didn't put you too much on the spot.
Yes, sir.
You came up with some numbers. That was pretty good, Lee.
We are okay with estimates, but yet those are estimates. But generally speaking, the literature for lifetime earnings is that there is a positive association between educational development and outcomes.
All right, so as we wrap this up, how can people get a hold of you or someone at UofL to get registered for this program and get in this new program?
So there are 3 main partners of this program that we have. There is the College of Education and Human Development at the University of Louisville, but we also have the School of Public Health and Information Sciences and the Delphi Center for Learning at the University of Louisville. Each one of those 3 sites has guides to get students to our program website, or you can simply Google University of Louisville, healthcare leadership, and online learning, and we will be the top match.
Or maybe just go to the U of L main page and search Lee Bewley, Bewley, and you'll probably come up with his phone number or his email address and contact you that way, right?
I am happy. I'm happy to serve any way I can. I'm a returning home Kentuckian. I spent 23 years in the Army Medical Department. I was a program director. I was a combat support hospital commander, and coming home and being able to serve our community and be a professor at U of L is great. And anything that I can do to help folks, please give me that opportunity.
All right, Lee Bewley, welcome home.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot. You know, the University of Louisville is very proud of its 14 Fullbright Scholars this year, and that number 14 ties the record of the number of Fullbright Scholars that U of L had a couple of years ago. And one of the Fullbright Scholars from this year is Ariel Weaver, and I talked to her a couple of months ago about her Fullbright, her win, and where she's headed in the world. I'm here now with Ariel Weaver, who is another of the University of Louisville's Fullbright Scholars. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a big deal.
It is. I'm really proud. I still can't really believe it. Right now, I'm just trying to get all the paperwork done and waiting on my grant documents so I can get started.
Get ready to go, huh?
Yeah.
So what are you going to be doing? What country are you going to, and what are you going to be doing?
I'm going to Namibia. It's a country in southern Africa. I am a geographer, and we'll be looking at settlement expansion in a wildlife corridor. It's one of the largest wildlife corridors in the whole world, with the largest population of elephants and lions.
Oh, wow.
So the reason I'm looking at it is because there's been a lot of human population growth, and so I'll be using satellite imagery to look at where the settlement and agriculture has grown and see how that has been affecting wildlife migration patterns.
And that's what, is that something you really wanted to study, or is this just
it's something I've been working on, and it was part of my undergraduate thesis. I looked at a much smaller area. I've been kind of working with a professor here at U of L, Dr. Andrea Gahn, who has done a lot of work with climate and vegetation in this region, and I was wanting to try out some new techniques at image classification using the similar area. So using her connections, I've been able to build up a really cool project to work on.
And just so people know, a Fulbright Scholar is it's an all-expense-paid trip. The U.S. government pays everything for you to go over there, and it's to college seniors, basically, or graduating seniors.
I'm a master's student.
Grad student, okay.
Yeah.
And so you're taking geography now? Are you a grad student in geography?
I'm a first-year grad student in the geography department.
Okay. What else should people know about the Fulbright program?
Well, there's you can get it up to 5 years after you graduate from college, or even from a PhD program. So you don't have to be right in school. You can go a few years after. It's an excellent honor. I'm going to get to meet a ton of alumni that have been able to do great things all over the world. Very great things. So I'm excited to be a part of that community.
What was your reaction when you first found out you won?
Oh, I think I jumped up and down. I couldn't believe it. And I called my mom, and she started crying and ran around her office and told everybody. So it was a really proud moment for both of us, and I think we lost our brains a little bit, but.
Well, that's okay. Moms and dads are allowed to do that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And in Namibia, are you going to be living out in a rural section of the country?
Yes, it's called, the city I'll be living in is Katima Mulilo. It's a town of 20 to 30,000 people. So the smallest place I've ever lived. I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma originally. It's similar size to Louisville. So it'll be an interesting experience to live in rural Africa.
Well, 20 to 30,000, that's not that small. I mean, that's like Shelbyville or
exactly.
Shepherdsville.
But there's no major metropolis next door.
No, that's true. No, you can't just wander to the mall, and I don't suspect in that town. Yeah. How'd you get to the University of Louisville from Tulsa, Oklahoma?
I transferred here in 2013. I was originally a student at the University of Tulsa. My mom lived here, and I kind of wanted to be a little bit closer to her, and they have a great department here in geography. So I transferred and have not looked back since. I've just been growing really well with the department, and had some opportunities to work on some really cool research over the years. So.
And what is it at the University of Louisville maybe that sparked your interest in this in Namibia, or has really served you well as you applied for this Fulbright scholarship?
I work in a research group with the professor I mentioned earlier, Dr. Gahn, and another professor, Dr. Stevens. We have weekly research meetings, and they kind of help keep us, interested, focused, and also share their own research processes with us. So it's awesome because we can all keep each other accountable, and they're also in that same process with us. And so we're always looking for new opportunities or funding opportunities or things around town that we can do so that we can continue to learn our craft and get better at being geographers and helping the community. So. Anything
you're a little apprehensive about?
Oh, lions. I don't run very fast, so if I'm in one of those situations, I'm going to have to start training, I think. But yeah, there are lots of carnivores that I'm not very sure about getting too close to.
One of your fellow Fulbright scholars said her biggest fear was the snakes.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Where she's going in Africa.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Kenya, right?
I think that's right, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, I've been looking up, I was given a book on the animals of Namibia, and the region that I'm going to is one of the most biologically diverse areas. You have not only like lions and elephants, but you've got endemic species like kudu and ibiza and crocodiles and all kinds of crazy animals that I've never gotten to live around. So. Except for like going to the zoo. So it'll be an interesting experience, and I'm definitely going to be cautious around wildlife.
Very good. But you're going to have a great time. You're going to do great research, and we're all going to be really proud of you when you get back to Louisville.
Well, thank you. I'm proud to be a card.
That was Ariel Weaver, a Fulbright scholar from the University of Louisville. So here's a little piece of trivia about the University of Louisville. Today it's Crawford Gym. As you know, Crawford Gym is shutting down and being demolished, and in its place is going up a brand new academic building. And Crawford Gym for many, many years was the practice facility for the University of Louisville basketball team, including the 1980 and 1986 championship team. So here's a little tidbit about Crawford Gym. Crawford Gym opened on UofL's Belknap campus in 1964, and according to a 1963 article in the Courier Journal, featured an unusual roof, or, quote, the first elliptical paraboloid in this part of the United States. So there you go, a little tidbit about Crawford Gym, which is being torn down on campus this fall. So thanks for listening to UofL Today with Mark Hebert on 93.9 The Ville. You can catch these shows on Monday and Tuesday nights at 6, right after Ramsey and Rutherford on 93.9. You can also see some of them on Metro TV, which is the government access channel here in Louisville, Kentucky, as well as KETKY. And as always, I'm on Great Day Live on WHAS TV with Terry Miners and Rachel Platt on Monday mornings around 9:30 or so, where I have a story about something great going on at the University of Louisville. So again, thanks for listening, and go Cards.